how do you empower parents to talk to their children about sex? I'm here with Jimanekia Eborn from SoJim.com, and I'm Cathy Bartoli from the IntimacyDojo.com. And I think it's a great topic because a lot of times there's a lot of sex educators out there teaching children or teenagers about sex and college students, which is really important. But also that dialogue within a family is really powerful.
Yeah.
What are some tips you give for, because it's a difficult, I still remember like my dad had the talk with me when I was 10 and he was sweating and it was so
well, at least that's better than what I got. My mom was like, here's a book, girl. And I was like,
good luck.
All right, well, I guess I'll read this book. I think it's very important for parents to figure out their own sexuality. Figure out how getting over that fear of talking to their children about sex.
Yeah.
I don't know why people think kids aren't going to do it eventually. So.
Well, the abstinence only thing, just I'm like, really? You have teenagers that can't clean their room, and you tell them not to eat the cookies, they eat the cookies. You think that with all the hormones swimming around, they're not going to experiment some. Like, to me, it doesn't make any sense, but...
Yeah, we're genetically engineered to fornicate.
Yes.
Let's be realistic. And what I've been thinking more and more, because I do work with teenagers, and what we do is before we start any of our classes, we have a parent session first. And we go through like everything that we're going to teach, and the parents are sitting there like this.
Well, a lot of parents don't know this stuff.
And it normally ends with, can I have a class? And we talk to them and tell them, like, we are front right now, but I personally would love to continue and trying to figure out, like, consulting with parents, because I think it's important if they are the ones that are talking to their children. Because in my mindset and the way I've been working and looking at things, even with my goddaughters, like, she's like, talk to them. And I'm like, how about I tell you and we get you right and you talk to them? Because once kids feel comfortable with, like, sexuality and, like, feeling safe talking to their parents, they will come to you with anything. And that's a whole different dynamic.
Yeah, and the class can be a bridge. Like, you can teach them a lot in a class, but you're not going to be able to cover every question ever. And if the child wants to understand, how does this fit in our family philosophy, like how we view the world, our values, a teacher who's outside of that is going to have a hard time answering those questions. Mm-hmm. And it's a great doorway to help the parents, because I think there's so many people not role modeling good communication, good sexual...
Yeah. Like,
the kids aren't watching the sex their parents are having, but they're seeing the after effects when the parents are all snuggly on the couch or angry with each other. Or, we learn a lot by watching. So I like that a lot.
Yeah. And like you said, parents... There's like a system. So but before you get to like middle school, you are your kids' like top person. You are their number one.
Well, you get stupider after that for a little while.
Yeah, and it goes down, and then their friends in media bump up.
Yeah.
So you can start to build that open safety net. You don't have to necessarily slip down.
Yeah.
Like, if you have that open communication and you're giving accurate information, like, stop being scared to tell kids the truth.
Yeah.
Stop it.
I remember most of the early sex ed, my dad had the talk with me when I was 10, but it was very, like, I wasn't going to ask any questions. I was just like, I want this to be over. And then the chorus teacher's daughter brought in one of those romance novels where they have the sleazy parts. And we were reading, we'd go under the bleachers and we'd read it. And we were, like, trying to figure out sex ed from there. Like, how do people actually do that? Are they face-to-face, or are they, like, we were putting together stuff from a cheesy, like, novel that she'd stolen from her mother's bedside table. And, then we didn't feel like we could ask anything, and I think it might have permanently warped us, but it's just, it's sad if that's where people have to go for bad information that they may carry forward their entire life.
Yeah, and even, like, when you learn more about, because sex ed is evolving every day, and it's changed since I was a kid. When I had that silly class, I was like, here's a woman, here's a man, don't have sex.
Yeah.
This gave me all kinds of
the
nothing.
The pink bow and the blue bow and the diagrams.
Yeah, I think it's also just so empowering as a parent, or someone, not even necessarily a parent, or someone that works with kids or has children in their life, to feel comfortable, like, in their own selves, to be like, if someone asks me this question, I can, like, answer them with like an honest answer and feel good about it. Like kids are so smart. That's why I like working with teenagers.
Yeah.
They're so smart and
flexible,
honest.
often much more flexible than an adult can be.
Yeah. And they'll ask, we do an anonymous question box every class. We let them ask anything. And like, I promise them every time, like, I will answer everything. And they're like, really? It's going to be okay. And like anything. And like when we answer them, they squirm. And it's my favorite part. And they're like, I don't know. I'm like, you asked the question. And they're like, I know. But they walk away having accurate information. And they'll come back the next week like, hey, my friend asked a question and I could answer them.
That's so cool.
And that's how we also want the parents or the adults to feel, like how the kids are feeling.
Well, it makes so much sense to me. I mean, I have a friend who's doing a marathon, and we've been talking about, like, people go far down the rabbit hole, like the psychology, the physiology, like all this stuff. And you ask the average person about, like, how the best sex practices or how the body works around sex, and they're like, oh, I don't know. You put the thing in the thing, and then you're done, and you hopefully don't fight about it. I'm like, no, there's like. People spend decades learning how to run better. Like, why don't we spend 20 minutes figuring out how to please each other and please ourselves more? And so I love that you're doing that with those kids.
So the kids are great, but I really want to meet the parents.
Yeah.
Like, it's important for me to teach, yes, but it's also important for you as a parent or an adult in a child's life to get that type of relationship with them. Because if you get that one door open, all the windows and the doors in the house is made open.
Well, you're building pathways to have authentic talks about difficult things. So there's like, oh, my best friend is doing drugs and I don't know what to do and they want me to do them, or a friend is sick. What do I, like, it opens doors for other conversations too. So that's...
Yeah. I think it's, one last thing, like, I think it's important for parents to be like, oh my God, I don't know what to say right now. And also be like, you know what? Let me double check and we can get back to it. And you're also allowed to freak out behind closed doors.
Yeah, exactly.
Totally okay.
Yeah.
Totally okay.
Yeah, well, maybe sometime I would love to hear some of the questions if you weren't willing to share anonymously. Maybe we could answer a few on video sometime.
Oh, yeah. They're so fun.
Cool. Please leave comments below. We'd love to know what you think. Thanks, Jimanekia.
You're welcome.